Well, my name is Frank or Francis Montano. I come from the Red Cliff Reservation up here, is where I was born in 1941. And musically, I've lived through a lot of different types of music. So I'm really honored to be able to come here and share a little bit about how the journey was for me from the beginning. And my father was from Central Mexico, my mother from Red Cliff. So I have a lot of different styles of music, and I've played in a lot of different places, and I've learned a lot of different styles and a lot of other interesting things, which was how to make our native flutes, which was really, when it came to me way back through sitting in the woods and fasting, it was something that was not very well known around this area. I had to seek knowledge about the flute, even the parts of learning how to make them as I was directed. I had to find people in Canada and northern parts of Minnesota to learn about how to make the flutes. And from the beginning of my life, way back as a little boy, my father was a mariachi musician, so I learned a lot of that style of music from him, and also learned how to play guitar plus harmonica. He was pretty adept to most of that type of music, even though he left his home in Mexico when he was 19 years old. But he already had learned how to make several different types of instruments, like violins and guitars. And the people up here, that older people, remembered some of those times back when he made a few of those instruments from the wood that he harvested out of the forest that we lived in out on the reservation there. In most cases, the songs come with words and music, but in some cases, it's just music. Sometimes it's just the words, and a lot of times then the words will end up as poetry, because they're kind of interconnected. The music, and the lyrics for songs a lot of times are some that were written as poetry, which is similar anyhow. So I'm going to play a little bit on this Strat style guitar here, and we'll just pick around on that, and then we'll get into discussing. And as we move towards the end, I'll use my acoustic guitar and maybe sing one of the songs that I put together either this year or one of the other years. I had an album that was nominated in our Native American Music Awards called Reservation Reflections, and we'll talk about some of the songs on that one even as we go through this program here. I have to turn on my amplifier and I can only describe, after playing for so many years, that all of a sudden in your mind it's like a light bulb turns on and you have this, you're struggling all the time, and when that happens it's like, wait a minute, I know where all those notes are on the guitar. I just have to let my mind stop struggling with those things and just let it flow. Well, one of the ones that really affected me negatively in my beginning years, I can go back that far and start in that way, and try to explain that we shouldn't let those things hang around too long in our mind and defeat us in our, in our attempt to move forward in music, and even in the part of coming up with lyrics and so on. One of the things that happened as a young person in, I believe we were in the 8th grade in the city of Milwaukee, and we had a little band formed, and we play for the dances at school. And one of the bass player, one of the young men that was with us, he had connections at the local radio station in Milwaukee. His older brother worked at the station, and there was a music promoter from Nashville or down in the area down that way that was coming up to visit the area, and he said he could get us an interview with this promoter, and maybe we could get a record deal or whatever. And we got all set for it and went to meet this promoter at this radio station, and he met us in this room, and he brought with him a young man that he had that was recording with his company down there, and it was the time when Elvis Presley was just becoming popular, way back then, and they had the music all canned, and they turned that music on with that young man standing there, and in front of us. He didn't even listen to us as this group that was going to be supposed to be, having him listen to us and decide if we were worth doing some recording with his company. He had that young man come up there, and he sang Elvis Presley's song, "It's Now or Never," and and he was really good. And that promoter that brought him there said, "Now, when you can perform like this young man, maybe you can give me a call again. Go home and practice." And as a young person, it was a very devastating thing for a while. It really made us not even want to get together anymore for a while. So, and we worked through that, and we still play and everything, but it was one of the negative things that can happen, and it does happen to a lot of people. One thing which was really interesting, and it still sticks in my head, he said, just like everything else in life, when a song comes into your head, don't think that you're the first one that came up with that idea or those lyrics. He said they might have been, sound is an amazing thing. It floats around in the universe and bounces off of other objects. He says, and maybe somebody come up with those words way back 100 years ago or so, and it came back around, and you were receptive to it at the time, and you got this, and it came into your mind. So don't think that you're the creator of it. You're just moving it along in this generation. Well, there's a number of those too, and I think one of the things that's happened to me over my life is I've learned how to find humor in a lot of different things that happen, where in my younger years I used to get upset when some things would happen, and after learning how to find this humor, you come up with answers sometimes that people want to ask you. And one of the things that sticks in my head is after I started to become popular with my traditional flute music. I was asked to perform, and I'd play my guitar, but I'd also bring flutes along and I'd play. And I had just finished a recording of an album called Closing the Circle. And on that album, there's a song about the eagle that came in a dream about, and it has eagle sounds made with the flute, and then it goes through this song with just flute music. And I was at the Great River Folk Fest performing in La Crosse. And I ended with that song. I said, I'm going to play this song that's on my new album about the eagle. And I said, if you'd like, when you're out there, people, it'd be good if you closed your eyes and just listen to this song. So I finished this song up and said my goodbyes on stage, and I packed my equipment and I started walking towards my car. And a young man and the woman he was with, they come running towards me and they asked me to stop. They wanted to ask me something. And I said, yeah, what is it? And he said, that song about the eagle that you played, that last song, it was wonderful. I closed my eyes and I was riding around on musical notes up in the sky. He said, and then those notes turned into this eagle and I'm sitting on his back and I'm flying around in the sky. And he said, it was a wonderful song. I only have one comment or complaint about it. I said, yeah, what is that? And he said, it was too short. You ended that song and I was still sitting up there flying around on the back of that eagle in the sky. He says, I wish it was longer. He said, but can you answer me this right now, if you can. How do I get down from that eagle? And I'm standing there and I have equipment in my hands and I'm thinking, in my mind does these crazy things. And I said, that's pretty silly. He said, what do you mean? I said, everybody knows you don't get down from an eagle, you get it from a duck. And of course, I don't know if he knew what I was talking about, but the feathers from a duck are called down. And they're used in pillows. And as I said that and started walking away, I looked back and this man is standing back there scratching his head trying to figure out what I told him. And I thought, this is, I come up with those kind of crazy comments sometimes with people. And those are a part of my way of finding humor and things, even on stage and coming up with little jokes like that and so on. And I think what it really does a lot of times when I'm doing say a hour and a half or 45-minute performance, to be able to tell a joke here and there in between it, and sometimes even getting audience participation, I think is an important part of how we grow as entertainers. And through our life, we learn a lot of different little things like that keep us going and keep our audience interested. In our traditional native way of preparing for those things, sometimes we're even told, go outside and spend some time sitting by a tree if it's possible, and offer some tobacco and ask for spiritual inspiration for what songs would be needed or what to talk about in some of these gatherings. Because I've been at a lot of places that are, I've been asked to come and do talk and do music and so on at colleges and high schools, nursing homes, treatment facilities, prisons. I've even been in prisons and did music and talking, and some of the preparation is using the medicines that were taught about, and one of the main ones for cleansing your aura and cleansing the area that you're in, or even the other people that are in the areas. The use of the sage and lighting it and creating a smoke or a smudge that is believed to clean out that negative energy out of the area, or from even your body and your mind and so on, so you can think better and get the right messages to as to what to play and what to sing, and that you do a better job of it. That's one of the rituals that we carry out quite a bit. I try to do that as much as I can at these different performances. And other than that, I think some of the important rituals that I've come to do at times is even exercising your voice. You know, and I notice a lot of the other musicians that I know, are other, especially vocalists, you know, doing that, because it is kind of a hard not to exercise your voice, just like your body. You know, your vocal cords get stiffen up also, and so on, and you know, and drinking of water, you know, and things like that are part of those rituals also, you know, for that, and even your going up and down your scales, you know. Well, it's all depending on the there's a lot that depends on, and some of it has to do with the ages of the people that you're performing for, the groups of people that you're performing for, the reason you're there. You know, I've been even through the times of what we call our treaty rights struggle, writing songs and thinking about what do you want to say to the people to get the message across. And it's really important, I found, not to put blame into your songs on a certain groups of people, because it turns off that group right away. You know, like pointing a finger at someone. So in that way, when I'm writing songs, a lot of times, instead of naming a group of people, I use the words like someone, you know. And in the time of treaty rights struggle, there was someone said that we must fish no more, or you know, someone says that we must hunt no more, and things like that, where you're not saying you or your people said that, because it isn't, you know, isn't for the best interest of anybody to start blaming and pointing it right at someone that's sitting right in front of you, and either in most cases paid to come and see you, and then you point at him and say, you did this to me. You know, and it learning how to put that into words that appeal to all of those people, and also make them think. You're not blaming, you're saying, think about it. It's interesting when you're writing the songs yourself. And some are based on spiritual things, you know. And especially in some of the songs that I wrote in the past, are spiritual experiences, maybe. Relating to trees, relating to birds, relating to all these things in life, you know. I'm going to do a song with with one of my acoustic guitars here, and in this song, there's a number of messages in this song, and it's an experience that I went through way back, years back, and there was issue on Madeline Island. At the time when they were expanding the marina, we're going to expand the marina over there, and they were digging, and they had dug up some grave sites on the other side of that marina there, towards that cemetery. And one of their people went over and saw bones and stuff in the back of a truck with dirt that was dug up there. And then there was a whole issue about stopping them from expanding over there, which they did. They stopped. And then they gave us that piece of land next to the cemetery. I can't remember who it was that owned that, signed that over, and then we decided we were going to have Memorial Day gatherings there on that spot there. And that next Memorial Day, we gathered over there, and there was a very small group of people that showed up for the this gathering. And some of the people were upset because there wasn't more people that were interested in coming for this gathering. And one of the old people, who since then has passed away, he was talking there, and he said, we shouldn't be upset, because all things, sometimes start small and grow. Eventually, when word gets out, people will start showing up. And he used an example. He said, remember that the biggest forest fire started with just a spark, and I went home from that gathering that night and sat at the house there, and I was thinking about what that old man said, and then I went to bed and went to sleep, and these things happen to me quite often. As soon as I went to sleep, in my dream or vision, I was standing back on the island, and we were around in that fire there and doing the ceremony, and then some of the people looked up at the sky, and they were kind of in awe. They were making sounds like they saw something up there. I looked up at the sky, and it was just a little ways over off the island right there by the water, and this cloud had formed up there, and it was like a face that took the shape of this face, and it had eyes, and these eyes opened up, and as these eyes opened up, then this big tear of water came down and hit the Lake Superior there, and it started these circular ripples that moved out like that. And then as those ripples were moving, this voice came from up there, and it said, you shouldn't be concerned about the number of people that came to this. It's a good thing that you are doing, having this Memorial Day gathering for all those relatives that passed. It said, but like those ripples in the water, this will grow, and it will move outward throughout the world, And so I sat there, and I came up with this song then, and it's called With a Spark. And it was because that old man talked about a spark. I heard a message this morning, heard it a long time ago. The words were there in my memory, the words that I seem to know. Somebody said we must join together and find our way in the dark. Love is the answer to where we're going. The fire must start with a spark. I stood alone in the darkness, searching my mind for a prayer. But all those words had no meaning, seemed like nobody cared. Somebody said we must join together to find our way in the dark. Love is the answer to where we're going. The fire must start with a spark. You know, we look at the trees and we say, Bonjour, Mashomas, Matik. Hello, grandfather trees. We say, Miigwech, thank you for all the things you do for us. Some of us forget. We build houses from you. You clean the air that we breathe. We get medicine from you. You shelter us from Ashomasa Sin, grandfather's son. We look at the rocks and we say, Bonjour, Ashomasa Sin. We call them grandfather. We say, hello, grandfather rocks. We call them grandfathers because they've been here since the beginning of time. And they'll be here till the end. We say, Miigwech to you, thank you, grandfather rocks, for all the things you do for us. Many of us forget. We build shelters from you. We use you in our healing ceremonies. We get medicine from you. The Spirit spoke to our elders. He said the time has arrived. We must all look for shelter, and we must live side by side. Somebody said we must join together to find our way in the dark. Love is the answer to where we're going. The fire must start with a spark. I live in dreams of the future. My spirit stores in the night, showing my people through hard times. Grandfathers teach us to fly. Somebody said we must join together to find our way in the dark. Love is the answer to where we're going. The fire must start with a spark. Love is the answer to where we're going. The fire must start with a spark. I hope I've offered you something that you can go home and think about. If you're looking for answers for life, maybe if you're looking for some stimulation to keep you traveling in a good direction, I think that there's always hope, and there's always this big lake out here that we all live by up here. There's always that to go and visit. Put your hands in that water. Sit there day or night and listen to the sound of the water. Sit by those huge trees and listen to the wind talking through the trees. But I think our lives are all intertwined. And somewhere along the line, we run into each other. In our Ojibwe language, we're always taught that there's no word that has the meaning of goodbye. So in our Ojibwe language, we say gigawabamin, gigawabamin. And translating that means I'll see you again, whether it be in this life or in the afterlife, because we're all spiritual and we have a way of connecting here or on the other side. So I guess with that, I hope that all things are well with all of you. And we say, Gigawabamin. Minuwa. See you again. I'm done.